Trickle-down economics seems fundamentally flawed. Am I missing something? The simple assumption is that the wealthy would not be putting excess money in consumption but instead would invest it, which in turn would fuel further growth driven by the private sector. This would also be inflationary versus the alternative, which would be government transfer payments to poor people who would spend this on consumption. This belief inherently believes that all private sector investment is inherently more efficient and effective than government spending. In an excessive government-controlled economy like Cuba or the ex-Soviet Union, this sort of thinking might have held credit. However, in my opinion, it's not as relevant in the world economy we have today. It is definitely flawed, but the people implementing it are the ones also benefiting from it, so it's not that shocking to me. You are missing that trickle-down economics do work. When wealthy become richer, they give more money to lobbyists, who in turn give more gifts to politicians. See, it works. It is just that common people are not in the intended demographic of the people it should trickle down to. Trickle-down economics is a rebranding. The term used to be horse and sparrow economics. If you overfeed a horse, some of the grain passes through undigested. Then it's available for sparrows to pick out of the horse feces. Trickle-down economics is a euphemism. David Stockman was the economic architect of trickle-down economics, a name given to it by a critic that stuck. He later admitted that it is a scam, and that it was intended as a scam from the start. I think I read somewhere that they used to call it pass-through economics, and giggle, as it was a reference to feeding enough oats to the horse wealthy, that it will eventually tea out enough oats to feed the sparrows. Us poors on the road. They literally want us to eat tea and they laugh about it. Skipping link. It is a BS idea. It is proven harmful. And it is being double, triple, quadruple downed on by your local and national conservatives. Nope, it's an amazing scam played on the world starting on the 80s and still the base for most conservative economic plans. Giving tax breaks to the rich and big business does not translate to wealth for the poor and middle class. It was a theory in certain economic circles. It was tried and shown to be incorrect. Nothing trickles down. It just concentrates wealth. TDE is a lie. It's never worked in history. Redistribution of wealth, which periodically has to happen to keep an economy healthy, is generally achieved by one of two ways: government intervention or war, conquest. It works great for billionaire dollar. Nope, you're right, it is. We know this. Its lack is education that makes people preach this as good and greed because it benefits the top. To be sure, the 46-day Prime Minister of the UK tried this approach and well, you know the rest. Nope, not missing anything. It was a giant lie that people bought, and are still buying into. Base awkward socialism that is somehow not demonized while actually socialism is. It's essentially a pyramid scheme. Yeah, it's like the GOP's decades of climate change denial. Now the abortion bounties, tax cuts for the rich, trans hatred, gay hatred, Bush, Trump, all of it makes no sense. Is completely self-deluding and detached from reality. Moderate tax increases on the rich is good for everyone. Tax cuts for the rich temporarily boost the economy for the GOP at the expense of massive long-term inflation for carrying unpaid debts. Biden wants to enhance the IRS to go after high-income tax evaders, but we have 50% of Congress and the population dead set on obstructing him at all costs no matter what and pushing tax cuts to the Rich and abortion bounties. Americans added to the public debt $1,900,000,000,000 to give that cash to the richest people in existence. All working-class people and their children will have to work the rest of their lives to pay off the massive tax cuts to the rich passed by GOP politicians. They also spent decades sabotaging the Democrats' climate change solutions, and were installing judges to literally erase women and girls' human rights. And that's without even mentioning their Jan. 6 coup attempt and election sabotage. Republicans want less government, and that is basically done by obstruction and replacement. Their response isn't meant to be coherent or reasonable. It's theater. The answer to every utilitarian question is less government, unless it's military or police or stuff they want. The part they leave out, it's urine that is trickling down. It isn't fundamentally flawed. It's the perfect grift. It's been shown that giving money to the poor always boosts the economy because poor and middle class put right back into the system. Upper class and ultra-wealthy tend to hoard it, invest it, take it offshores, etc., etc. Even Trump said in an interview that the economy does better when a Democrat is in control. And that's because even Democrats are a bunch of crooks. They're just less of the two evils. Greed and power are drugs just like tobacco and alcohol. No, for 30 years TDE was a failed ideology. Only read the title and know you're not. Trickle-down economics does not work when you have people hiding wealth in tax havens and stagnant wages. It only works when the majority of CEOs, CFOs, and other board members aren't sociopaths.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.